Today we're talking about Jack Coe, ruthless man of faith. I mean, you'll understand why we say that here in a few minutes. I have two segments of the broadcast from Jack Coe that I want to be able to share with you, but I want to tell you some things personally about the man that I know, being that he was from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He was born in 1911, or I believe it was 1918, but I really believe it was 1911. Let's see here. No, it was 1918. And actually, he was born in Oklahoma City and died in Dallas, Texas, which he had a ministry here in Waxahachie, Texas, which is just south of Fort Worth. It's almost a subdivision of Fort Worth now, since the city's grown so much. But at that particular time, he was building a school, but it was more or less a hospital. He was trying to make a place where people could come from all over the world, and with the prayers of the saints that he had working in there and the signs and wonders and miracles, he felt like that there would be a great move of God in that spiritual hospital that brought healing manifested in the physical manner, so that people would be able to experience God firsthand, but also obtain what they had need of physically and in some cases mentally. So as he addressed these issues and did his best to try to make this happen, he fought many of the doctors and hospitals around the country coming against him for trying to set up this hospital back in Waxahachie back in the day. And that was in the early 50s. In fact, I have two friends who have since passed on. They were older than I, but I would go to their home in Gun Barrel City, Texas, and minister to all their friends that they would have gather around. And they were very much involved in Jack Coe's ministry. The wife of the family was the organist for Jack Coe and his ministry, and the husband was the contractor who took care of all the building and setting up the stages, putting up tents, going from there to starting the plans to build a hospital. And they said just about the peak of his ministry, he came down ill after going to Africa and ministering in Africa. He came back with some real rare disease and compounded with things that he already had dealt with most of his life. And within about a 2-week period, he was dead. So, here was a man who resisted going to any other hospital other than one that was using spiritual application only for healing. And I can't say that he would have lived anyway, but they said he was a very strong-willed man, would not listen to anybody's reasoning or try to help him. He didn't need any help. He felt like that he pretty much had it all under control. So as you can understand, he tried to maintain his ministry from a standpoint that it was his ministry and he was going to run it the way he wanted to. Well, after he passed away, my late friends who have since passed, while they were alive, they told me that they didn't know what they were going to do with themselves, because they thought they were going to build their whole life around right along with his ministry, because they hadn't been married long, and they were both genuinely involved in his ministry in more than just the administrative ways and constructive ways. They were also very much involved in the spiritual application, and met very many people along the way who were had their power from God in their own manner and own like. So they were introduced to a lot of people. But the one thing about it is that in Waxahachie, there's still ministries coming out of Waxahachie today. And as you might know, that a lot of ministries came out of the Oklahoma, Texas area. I'm not saying they're the only places, but a lot have, and there's for reason. And a lot of it has to do with the way families are raised and how people treat each other. We have problems just like every other city, but one thing we do have is a core group of people who maintain the morals and standards of what the Bible dictates. And so, we try to live that way the best we can, and it has a result of bringing in a lot of what God has for the people of the world. So we're going to watch a video first from a selection of one of other ministries that we're going to use it, borrow it for a little bit. And then we're going to go to our site to finish it off with about 6 more minutes of the clip of some things that we have that wasn't on their video selection. So as we go, we'll watch and see what happens in this next round of applauses, the next round of
homeless children.
Interesting messages. So,
and now enter into this great service with us.
How many is glad you're here tonight? Say amen. How many is glad you're saved tonight? Say amen. How many is happy tonight? Say amen. How many is going to be here and be in jail? Say amen. The rest of y'all who went to jail, you'd have been happier. Amen. Isn't Jesus wonderful? How about singing my little chorus I taught you the other night? Don't you like that little chorus? Come on. Amen. It's written and it's real. How many believe it is written and it's real? That's the best headache tablet you ever got a hold of. That's the best mustard plaster you ever put on you. That's the best cancer operation you ever had cut on you. 32,000 promises in the Word of God, and every one of them belong to you. How many believe it's written and it's written? Come on, sing on. Well, it's written and it's written. That the Jesus is. Well, it's written and it's written. And it's for you. It's the test, it's the trial. And it's fully satisfied. Well, it's written and it's written. That the Jesus is. Well, it's written and it's written. That the Jesus is. Well, it's written and it's written. And it's for you. It's the test, it's the trial. And it's fully satisfied. Well, it's written and it's written. That the Jesus is. Well, that's pretty good for a consumption ward. Amen. For a bunch of dead Texans, that's awful bad for a bunch of Pennsylvanians who's got the Holy Ghost. Come on, stand up and see if you can't do it better than that. How many believe it is written and is real? Everybody stand. Everybody, even the sick, lame, and lazy stand up. Come on, everybody sing it. Sister back there, smile, will you? Thanks. Only takes 14 muscles to smile, and it takes 48 to look like that. A whole lot easier to smile. Come on, put a smile on your face and let's sing It's Written and It's Real. I believe it is written and real, don't you? I believe it's for you. I feel sorry for some people that can't smile or laugh. I don't call that religion. I call it liver trouble. Religion don't put a long face on you. Religion will put a smile on your face, a song in your heart, make you go home and kiss your own wife, leave your neighbor's wife alone. Come on, sing it all together, everybody. Well, it's written and it's written. Like the Jesus is. Well, it's written and it's written. And it's for you. It's the test that it's the trial. And it's fully satisfied. Well, it's written and it's written. Like the Jesus is. Well, it's written and it's written. Like the Jesus is. Well, it's written and it's written. And it's for you. It's the test, it's the trial, and it's fully satisfied. Well, it's written and it's written. That's the Jesus is. One more time. That's better that time. But I want you to really pull all the stops out and really sing it. Come on. And everybody smile. I said smile. Please smile. Thank you. All together now, everybody. Well, it's written and it's written. Like the Jesus is. Well, it's written and it's written. and it's for you. It's tested, it's tried, and it's fully satisfied. Well, it's written and it's free. Like the keys I see. Well, it's written and it's free. Like the keys I see. Well, it's written and it's free. And it's for you. It's the best it's tried. And it's fully satisfied. Well, it's written and it's free. Like the keys I see. Why, that's good. Now turn around, shake hands with 5 people, and say, God bless you. You may be seated. Hallelujah. With the Lord, the dignity of the pulpit too much, I'm going to take my coat off again. Hallelujah. I said hallelujah. If you have your Bibles tonight, turn with me. I'm reading a portion of Scripture found in Isaiah, the 29th chapter, and I'm going to read the 13th, the 14th, and the 18th verses. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people have drew near me with their mouths, and with their lips do honor me, but they have removed their hearts far from me. And their fears towards me is thought by the precept of man. Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people, even a marvelous work and a wonder. For the wisdom of the wise men shall perish, and the understanding of the prudent men shall be hidden. This is a verse I love, the 18th verse. And in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see. Out of obscurity and out of darkness. Can I quote that verse again? And in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see. Out of obscurity and out of darkness. These are the words of Isaiah, and Isaiah was a man who never put on colored glasses to see who occupied the front pew. I don't believe Isaiah preached one kind of gospel to one class of people and another to another. I believe Isaiah preached the word of God because it was the word of God, but you didn't like what he was preaching. You could just pack up what you had and go hunt you another church to go to. Are you listening to me? I don't believe Isaiah's freedom in the pulpit had anything to do with how much money he had in his pocket. I don't believe Isaiah's freedom in the pulpit had anything to do with how much property he owned. I believe he preached the word of God because it was the word of God, and if you didn't like what he was preaching, you could go someplace else. I believe he took a dead aim at the hypocrites and popped them right between the eyes. We're living in the day that Isaiah described. The Bible said men have drew near me with their mouths, and with their lips they're honoring God, but they don't have their heart in their worship. There's a lot of people that the only way you can get them to praise God is tell them to. You got to get up and say, let's everybody say glory, and then they all holler glory. Then you say, now dear one, say praise the Lord. And then they all holler praise the Lord. It sounds like a bunch of old Paul parents. I believe if you can't praise God without somebody telling you to, I believe you need to get in an altar and pray through until the praise of God gets back down in your heart where you can praise God without being told to praise God. Men have drew near God with their lips and with their mouths. They're honoring God, but they're not worshiping God from their heart. We have a lot of churchianity, but let me tell you something. We got very little Christianity. We have a great big profession, but brother, we got a little old bitty possession. Hallelujah. have turned with itching ears from the Word of God. They want to hear stories and fables and moving picture shows. They want everything in the world except thus saith the Lord. It's got the place where you can't tell the world from the church. Church goes to the bowling alleys go to church. Church goes to the hellholes go to church. Amen. Church goes out on dancing parties and the dancing parties come to church. You can't tell which one's the world and which one's the church. The church is weakened by sin. A lot of our churches have bridge plans, cigarette-sucking women in the church that claim to be children of God. Quiet in here. And a lot of our churches are not even good soup kitchens. All they do is have chicken and ice cream and tea parties. And let me tell you something, a church that has to serve chicken and ice cream and tea to get people out to church, they're as thin as the chicken, as cold as the ice cream, and as weak as the tea. I believe people ought to go to church because they love God, because they love to worship God. Sin has swept across this nation. It's swept into our homes. It's swept into our schools. And God help us, it's even swept into the church of the living God. And it's going to wreck God's church unless we get back on our knees and ask God to send a Holy Ghost revival that will stir the men and women fire. We talk about civil defense. We talk about national defense. We talk about the A-bomb and the H-bomb being our security. But, brother, there's nothing our security if the church of the living God doesn't get on her knees and pray for God to visit the people today. This country is going to be wrecked and ruined, and the devil's going to take over. We need people with backbone that will stay on their faces and pray and seek God to visit his people with a revival that will open the eyes of the blind, cause the lame to leap for joy, and the deaf to hear. How many believe I'm preaching the truth? Say amen. Fewer and fewer are the people that will preach this way. Fewer and fewer are the preachers that will preach out against your little pet sin, your little pet thoughts. Some of our churches are so cold and so dead. They got snow in the pew, frost in the choir, and a 6-foot icicle during the preaching. Those who need a warning from a faithful pastor, when he does preach out against their pet sins and their pet faults, it isn't long when you find that old boy packing his grip and hunting another place to preach. Why? Because people don't want what the Bible says to them. They try to do away with that bloody religion. Brother, I want the bloody religion. I believe the bloody religion is the Word of God. I believe it's God's Word. I believe He died on the tree and shed His blood that I might have life and have it more abundantly. Somebody said if divine healing is the Word of God, why don't all preachers preach divine healing? I'll tell you why they don't preach it, for the same reason the religious leaders in Jesus' day didn't preach it. For the same reason when Jesus opened the eyes of the blind, caused the lame to walk, they called him Beelzebub, the father of the dead. Let me tell you, it wasn't the outside world that fought Jesus when he was here on earth, but it was church members. I said it was church members. And it was preachers, and it was priests, and it was other people that fought the Lord Jesus Christ. And I want you to remember another thing, too. It wasn't the harlot and the drunkard and the liar that crucified my Lord, but it was a bunch of dead church members that nailed him to worship and praise. I don't wish to cast any reflection on any preacher. But the reason preachers don't preach divine healing and the power of God today is for the same reason the religious leaders in Jesus' day didn't preach. Let me tell you something. If you oppose divine healing, you don't oppose Jack Coe. You don't oppose a handful of Pentecostal preachers. If you oppose divine healing, you oppose the work of the living God, who's healing scores of souls today, who's opening the eyes of the blind and causing the lame to walk and the deaf to hear. Brother, you're not opposing man, you're opposing God's work. I'd rather have my eyes cut out. I'd rather have my arms cut off. I'd rather go through this life blind and lame and halt than I would to fight against the work of the living God. I'll never forget when I first got out of the Army in 1945. I was down in a little old place called Red Oak Flat, Texas, holding a revival meeting. I was in the country, and my whole congregation, that was back when I first started preaching, and my whole congregation, lots of nights, it only amounted to 12 and 13. And most of them would stand outside the door and talk about working in their gardens and planting crops. And I said one night, I said, all of you fellows that are on the outside of this church, one of these times you're going to want me to pray for you. And I said, I'm going to do it, but I just want you to know you're going to want me to. And I'll have to get the next morning about 8 o'clock, there was a knock on the parsonage door. I went to the door, and there stood Mr. Sloan. He walked out the edge of the porch and spit up blood, and he come back, and he said, is Brother Paramore here? And I said, no, he's already gone. He said, Brother Cole, would you take me to Jacksonville, to the hospital? That's Jacksonville, Texas. And I said, sure. I said, wait here till I get my hat and the keys to my car, and I'll go. Somebody said, why didn't you pray for him? Because he didn't ask me to. I said, because he didn't ask me to. The Bible didn't tell me to look you up. The Bible said for you to look me up. The Bible said call the elders of the church. How many believe that? Say amen. And I went in, I got my hat and my keys. Come back out and got him in the car. We started to Jacksonville, and he moaned and groaned and spit blood, and I sit there and drove and sang I'm in the glory land way. Heaven is near, the way is going clear. Somebody said, my, you're hard-hearted. Why didn't you pray for that man? Because he didn't ask me to. He knew what it took to get healed. Some woman said to me one time that I was sick and my pastor didn't come to see me. I said, did you call him? She said, certainly not. I said, he's a Holy Ghost man. He ought to know when I'm sick and when I'm not. I said, if your pastor knew all about you, you left town 24 hours ago. Aren't you glad God don't tell you? We got on to Jacksonville, and when I stopped the car, his wife got him out of the car and rushed him up the steps into the hospital. I laid my head back against the seat and was meditating on the Lord and praying. And all of a sudden, I heard a woman's voice saying, come quick, Brother Cole, come quick. My husband's died. His ulcers had bursted and said he's hemorrhaging today. He isn't right with God. I got out of the car and raced up the steps and raced into the hospital. There was that old boy rolling from one side of the bed, the other crying and spitting up blood and moaning and groaning. And I just went there and just sit by him and looked at him. Somebody said, why didn't you pray? Because he didn't ask me to pray. I just sit and looked at him. Hallelujah! Finally, he turned over and he saw me sitting there and he said, aren't you going to pray for me? I said, if you want me to, I will. Well, he said, I want you to. I still had on my army suit, and I reached in and got my little bottle of olive oil out of my army shirt pocket, and I anointed that old boy. He's got one hand in the air, and he began to say, oh, God, forgive me for lying. God, forgive me for getting drunk. God, if you won't let me go to hell, Lord, I'll pay back everything I've ever stolen. God, don't let me go to hell. God, save me, Lord. He was just praying away, and finally he began to say, thank you, Jesus. Oh, Lord, I feel so good, God. I feel so good, God. Thank you for forgiving me. He got kind of noisy. You get enough of the right thing, you're liable to get a little noise. He got a noise then. The door opened and the nurse come in and she said, looked at him and she went over to him and said, now, Mr. Sloan, you got to get a hold of yourself. Said, you're a sick man. That didn't help him. He just kept on getting louder. Finally, she turned around at me and she said, soldier, you can't disturb the patients like this. And I said, I didn't disturb him. I just prayed for him. I said, somebody else disturbed him. She looked all around the room and looked back at me like there was something wrong with me. And out of the room she went. When she went out, he began to say, thank you, Jesus, for saving me. Lord, thank you for healing me. God, I feel so good, God. Oh, God, I feel so good. Jesus, thank you, Lord. Pretty soon the door opened and in come two nurses. One of them had a hypodermic needle in her hand. They walked over and pulled up that fellow's nightgown sleeve and stuck that needle in his arm and gave him a high point. I believe they give him about 965 pounds a shot. Because after they give him that thing, he got ridiculous. He began to talk in a language I'd never heard before. He began to shout and holler and yell, I want out of this place. I'm healed. I'm saved. Oh, glory to God. Hallelujah. That nurse turned around at me and she said, you soldier, you're the one that's causing all the trouble. Said, you get out of here. I said, I'll go, but I'm not the one that's causing the trouble. When I'm gone, he'll still be here. And I went out there and went down the corridor and I could hear that old boy still praising God. The next evening, the doors of the church opened and in walked Mr. Sloan with a smile all over his face and he said, thank God. God saved me. Said, God healed me. Said, God filled me with the Holy Ghost. Said they took me in today. Said they tried to find those ulcers and they couldn't find them. Said they fluoroscoped me and they couldn't find them. Said the doctor said he didn't understand where that blood was coming from. He said that it showed that I didn't even lose any blood, and he said he knew I lost almost a quart of blood, and he said he couldn't understand what in the world had gone wrong. And he said, I looked that doctor in the face and said, Dr. Jesus took another case. Oh, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Thank God Dr. Jesus took another case. He took another case. I'll tell you, if Jesus ever takes your case, I don't care what you got, you'll get well. If Jesus ever takes your case, you'll leave them old crutches behind. If he ever takes your case, that old cancer will leave your body. If he ever takes your case, them old blind eyes will fly open. Oh, thank God, Jesus can heal anything, anywhere, anytime, and any. Just put your faith in him.
The healings you are about to witness are the actual healings as they took place in this great deliverance revival.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Advance over nerves and I was all over.
Hurt all over?
Yeah, my nerves told me to spasm.
You have spasms.
Spasm hit the doctor.
Yeah. It's all through your shoulders here and in these arms.
My leg.
Hurts you terribly.
Yeah, my leg cross-examined over 45 years.
Yeah. You're in pain right now, there. You're in pain right now. You believe God can release it? I believe you've been very patiently waiting for this, and here it comes. God, I break this old pain out of these shoulders, this old stiffness of these joints. God, every one of these skips from these nerves is going to leave his body, God, in my name. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now, do you feel anything in there now? Not sure, you never will again. Go praise him, amen. Raise your hands and praise God. Raise your hands and praise God. What's your trouble, sister?
My left hip and my lower back. I'm supposed to wear a brace.
Supposed to wear a brace on your back. It's dislocated nerves and the vertebrae, is that right? It goes clear down your leg and hip, and it's in your back.
That's pretty right.
Yeah. Turn around. hurting and pain? This location is. Right through there. Lord is my name. God heal us all back by the power of God. Right now. Then Father, touch your toe. Oh, touch him. Pray over. Do it again. Pray over. Come on. Come on. Loosen up. Don't be afraid. 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 How you do it? Put those hands over your head. Now go over and touch the toe. Come on. Go. Up again. Down again. Up again. Tell me something. How does your back feel? How does your back feel? I said, how does your back feel? I said, how does your back feel?
Hallelujah.
That's all I want to know. Glory to God. Raise your hands and praise God. Raise your hands and praise God. Raise your hands and praise the Lord. So happy to be on this television program and to come to you each week and to show you what God is doing throughout the world today. How He's healing the sick, how the lame are being made to walk, the blind are being made to see, and the deaf hear. I am not a healer. I never claimed to be a healer. I believe there's only one healer, and His name is Jesus. But the Bible said all that came to Jesus was healed. We do not claim to heal any of these people, but it's a prayer of faith that I pray for them. God sent me out and gave me power over sickness, over disease, over the works of the devil. And He told me whatever I bound on earth would be bound in heaven. Whatever I loosed on earth would be loosed in heaven. So I want you to sit down and write me a letter today if you're enjoying these programs. And tell me how much you enjoy it. If you'd like to have me pray for your sick body, all you have to do is just write me a letter. Say, Brother Cole, please pray for my sick body. And I know God will heal you. Friends, you don't have to suffer. You don't have to go through pain and agony. When doctors have folded their hands and said there's nothing more they can do, thank God Jesus can do something for you. So write me a letter today, and I'll pray the prayer of faith that will set you free from that old cancer, heal you of that old tumor, open them blind eyes. To everyone that writes me a letter, I'm going to send you one of these little gold prayer cloths that I've prayed over and believed God over. And when you get this gold prayer cloth, you lay it upon your sick body, and God will heal you of that sickness and affliction. And also, I'm going to send you my book on Wilt Thou Be Made Whole. Now, these will come to you just by writing me a letter. This is a 39-page book on how to receive your healing from God. God will heal you, friend, if you'll only write me a letter and let me pray for you. Write me today. Don't let another day go by. I need to hear from you, and you need to hear from God. If you'll write me, I'll send you the gold prayer cloth and the book.
Right, Brother Coe, tonight. Address Jack Coe, A, Dallas, Texas. God bless you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. We pretty much caught all of the healings, but there are a few more that hopefully we'll have for you at another time, because we'll do this periodically just so that we can kind of catch up on what happened in the past, a blast from the past. God did a lot of things back in the mid-50s. Those times were right, after World War II, and then we started in Korea. In between those two wars seemed to be a real outburst of God's Spirit, and a lot of people were touched and healed by God, as there were those who allowed themselves to be used of God. I want to encourage you to seek God with all that's within you, and when you pray, ask Him to send you a spiritual gift, and ask Him to make that manifest gift in you that will give the ability for others to be able to receive. Now, one key factor that I found in obtaining spiritual gifts is that you got to have the will to want to love God's people. Love people in general, but especially God's people, because it's an expression of His love when people begin to receive their healing. They receive it because it's the love of Jesus flowing out of you and into them. And that's the main reason why God uses the gifts, that they may be set free, saved, and delivered from what ails them and keeps them from falling in the hands of Hades. So be it. God bless you all. To all, a good day, and we will catch you next week. Hopefully so. You'll be here for the next round, and it'll probably be Sylvania that we'll be watching from Brazil. It's very interesting. It'll be very helpful. God bless you all. To all, good day.